Nature is not fair, it is not honest, and it is absolutely not above lying directly to your face to get what it wants. We like to imagine the natural world as this noble arena of strength versus strength, the fastest, the biggest, the deadliest surviving on pure merit. But some of the most successful creatures on Earth never win a fair fight, because they never fight fair in the first place. They cheat. They lie. They disguise themselves, forge signals, fake their own identities, and manipulate other animals into doing exactly what they want, often at the cost of that other animal's life. This isn't rare, and it isn't an accident. Deception is one of the oldest, most reliable survival strategies evolution has ever produced, and the animals that have mastered it are running cons so sophisticated they'd make a professional grifter jealous. So let's go through 8 animals that survive not by being stronger or faster, but by being better liars. Number 1. The cuckoo. The cuckoo has figured out how to skip parenting entirely, and it does it by committing one of the most ruthless frauds in the animal kingdom. A female cuckoo waits, watches, and times it perfectly. The moment a smaller bird like a reed warbler leaves its nest unattended, the cuckoo swoops in, removes one of the host's real eggs, and lays her own in its place, sometimes in under 10 seconds. Her egg has evolved to mimic the host's eggs closely enough to avoid suspicion. Then she leaves forever. When the cuckoo chick hatches, usually earlier than its nestmates, it does something genuinely disturbing. It instinctively pushes the host's real eggs and chicks out of the nest, killing them, so it can monopolize all the food. And the host parents, running on pure instinct, keep feeding this enormous imposter even as it grows several times their own size, working themselves to exhaustion to raise the very creature that murdered their actual offspring. They never figure it out. That's the horror of it. The con works precisely because the host bird's brain is wired to respond to a begging chick in its nest, and the cuckoo has learned to exploit that wiring perfectly. Number 2. The anglerfish. Deep in the ocean, where sunlight never reaches and food is desperately scarce, the anglerfish hunts using a lie made of light. Growing directly out of its head is a modified spine that dangles in front of its mouth like a fishing rod, tipped with a glowing lure. That glow comes from bioluminescent bacteria living inside it, and in the pitch-black deep sea, a small point of light is irresistible. Curious prey, drawn to what looks like a smaller meal or a mate in the endless darkness, swim closer and closer to investigate. And the moment they're in range, the anglerfish strikes, its enormous mouth and needle-like teeth swallowing prey sometimes larger than itself. The victim never sees the fish. It only sees the light, the promise of something worth approaching, right up until the darkness closes around it. What makes this especially clever is that the anglerfish barely has to move. In an environment where chasing prey would burn energy it can't afford to waste, it simply advertises a lie and waits for hunger and curiosity to do the rest. It's fishing, in the most literal sense, using bait it grew from its own body. Number 3. The mimic octopus. Most animals get one disguise. The mimic octopus decided that wasn't nearly enough. Found in the shallow, murky waters of Southeast Asia, this octopus can impersonate an entire cast of other sea creatures, changing its color, its shape, and even the way it moves to become something else entirely. It can flatten its body and ripple across the seafloor to imitate a venomous flatfish. It can tuck its arms and undulate to mimic the banded pattern and swimming style of a deadly sea snake. It can splay its limbs to impersonate a lionfish bristling with poisonous spines. And here's the truly impressive part. It appears to choose its disguise based on the threat in front of it. If it's being harassed by a fish that sea snakes are known to prey on, the octopus may specifically become a sea snake. That's not just camouflage, that's context-aware deception, picking the right lie for the right audience. In an animal with no bones, no shell, and a body that's essentially a soft, edible snack, this ability to convincingly become a series of dangerous, venomous creatures is the difference between living and being eaten. Number 4. The Photuris Firefly. On a summer night, the gentle glow of fireflies looks like one of nature's most peaceful sights. But among them, something predatory is happening, and it's built entirely on a forged signal. Firefly species communicate using specific patterns of light, essentially a flashing code that males and females use to find mates of their own kind. Each species has its own signature rhythm. The female Photuris Firefly has cracked the code of other species. When she sees a male of a different firefly species flashing his mating signal, she flashes back the exact response pattern his species uses. The precise reply that says, "I'm a female of your kind, come find me." The hopeful male, believing he's found a mate, flies down to meet her. And she eats him. Researchers call these predatory females femme fatales. And beyond the meal, there's a second, sneakier payoff. By consuming these males, she absorbs defensive chemicals her own body can't produce, making herself toxic to predators. So the lie doesn't just feed her, it arms her. She's turned the language of love into a hunting call. And the males never learn, because the ones who fall for it don't survive to warn anyone. Number 5. The zone-tailed hawk. Prey animals are constantly scanning the sky for predators. So a predator that can convince its prey it isn't a threat has already won half the battle. The zone-tailed hawk pulls this off with a disguise built out of a completely different, harmless bird. In the areas where it hunts, turkey vultures are common, and prey animals largely ignore them because vultures eat carrion, not live prey. There's no reason to flee from a vulture. The zone-tailed hawk looks remarkably similar to a turkey vulture, with similar dark coloring and a similar wing shape. And it takes the deception further by flying the same way, holding its wings in that distinctive, teetering, wobbling glide vultures use, often mixing in among actual vultures as they circle overhead. To the small animals below, it's just another harmless scavenger drifting past, nothing to worry about. And then, the vulture suddenly folds its wings and drops, revealing itself as a hawk only in the final seconds before it strikes. By blending into a crowd of animals its prey has learned to disregard, the hawk gets close enough to attack before its target ever realizes the threat was hiding in plain sight the entire time. Number 6. The Alcon Blue Butterfly. Some of the most sophisticated deception isn't visual at all, it's chemical, and the Alcon Blue Butterfly runs a con so elaborate it borders on unbelievable. It begins when the butterfly lays its eggs on a specific plant. When the caterpillar hatches and grows, it eventually drops to the ground and does something bizarre. It waits to be kidnapped. The caterpillar produces chemicals that mimic the scent markers of a particular species of ant, specifically the smell of that ant's own larvae. When foraging ants find the caterpillar, they don't see an intruder. They smell one of their own babies, somehow ended up outside the nest. So they do exactly what instinct demands. They carry it home and place it in their nursery alongside their actual young. And there the caterpillar lives, being fed and groomed and protected by ants that are convinced they're caring for one of their own, while it grows fat, sometimes even eating the ant larvae around it. It's a chemical forgery so convincing that the ants defend the very creature exploiting them. The caterpillar has hacked the identity system of an entire colony, and it did it by learning to smell like family. Number 7. The opossum. Sometimes the most effective deception isn't pretending to be dangerous, it's convincing a predator that you're already dead and not worth the trouble. The opossum is famous for playing dead, but that phrase undersells just how committed the performance actually is. When an opossum is threatened and can't escape, it doesn't consciously decide to act. Its body triggers an involuntary response, it collapses, goes limp, its breathing slows, and its tongue lolls out. But the truly convincing part is chemical. The opossum releases a foul-smelling fluid that mimics the stench of a rotting corpse, and its body may even leak from other glands, completing the illusion of a carcass that's been dead long enough to start decaying. To a predator, this matters enormously. Many predators avoid animals that are already dead, because rotting meat can carry disease and parasites. So the predator, presented with what looks and smells exactly like a decomposing body, often loses interest and moves on. The opossum isn't faking a quick death, it's faking a days-old one, complete with the smell.
Number 8. The Bolas Spider.
Most spiders build webs and wait. The Bolas spider throws away the web entirely and instead becomes a chemical assassin, and its method is genuinely ingenious. Its target is male moths, and to catch them, it exploits the single most powerful drive those moths have, the search for a mate. Female moths attract males by releasing pheromones, airborne chemical signals that males can detect from remarkable distances. The Bolas spider synthesizes and releases a chemical blend that mimics these female moth pheromones almost perfectly. Male moths, catching the scent on the breeze, fly toward what they believe is a waiting female, following the false signal straight to the spider. And then the spider deploys its weapon, not a web, but a single silk thread with a sticky glob of glue at the end, which it swings like a lasso, or a bolas, to snag the incoming moth right out of the air. Some Bolas spiders can even adjust their chemical cocktail through the night to target different moth species as they become active at different hours, changing their fake perfume to match whatever prey is currently on the menu. It's a lure, a forged signal, and a weapon all in one, aimed at animals whose own biology has been turned against them. 8 animals, 8 completely different cons, all built on the same simple, ruthless principle. If you can make another creature believe something that isn't true, you can make it do exactly what you want. A cuckoo that outsources its parenting to its victims. A firefly that turns a love song into a death trap. A butterfly that talks its way into a fortress by smelling like family. None of these animals are stronger or faster than the creatures they exploit. They don't need to be. They've discovered something that works far better than raw power. And that's the ability to control what another animal thinks is real. And maybe that's the most unsettling takeaway here. Deception isn't some rare glitch in an otherwise honest natural world. It's everywhere, refined over millions of years, woven into the survival strategies of countless species, precisely because it works so well. Nature rewards whatever succeeds, and again, across completely unrelated branches of the tree of life. What succeeds is a really, really good lie.